Brainy presents 8 Dark Truths About Human Nature. When we're younger, we tend to believe that people are generally pretty transparent, but life sure has a way of stripping those illusions away. The longer you watch people, the more you start noticing that what appears obvious on the surface is often the opposite underneath. What's even more troubling is that these patterns exist everywhere, woven into daily life, from families to friendships to workplaces, and even how people build their identities. So let's get into 8 dark truths about human nature that explain far more than most people are willing to admit. The dumbest talk the most. Why is it always the people with the least to say who always somehow say the most? They talk over everyone, explain things nobody asked them to explain, offer opinions on everything, and act like the sheer volume of their voice is supposed to count as intelligence. Well, it doesn't. It just counts as noise. Smart people usually have some hesitation. They understand that reality is complex, people are complicated, and that most issues are not as simple as they look in a 5-second rant. But those others, they move through life with very little self-awareness. They rarely stop and think, wait, do I fully understand this? They just launch. And because confidence is so easy to mistake for competence, a lot of people buy it at first. But the truth is, the loudest person in the room is usually compensating. Silence is dangerous when there is not much going on upstairs, so they fill every gap with opinions, certainty, and recycled nonsense, hoping nobody notices that beneath all that talking, there's very little substance holding anything up. The shallowest judge the fastest. Those with the least depth tend to be the quickest to form harsh opinions. They can look at a face, a job, a social media post, a moment of weakness, and decide they know everything. Why? Because judging is easier than understanding. It takes almost no effort to reduce someone to a label. In contrast, it takes patience, intelligence, and emotional maturity to admit that every person has a story you cannot see from the outside. Shallow people are not equipped for that kind of intricacy. It gets in the way of their need to sort the world into simple categories. Good or bad, winner or loser, attractive or not, successful or irrelevant. They judge fast because depth would force them to slow down, and slowing down might expose how little they actually understand. Quick judgment gives them a temporary feeling of superiority. It makes them feel above the person they are reducing. The fakest are often the most admired. This one is so annoying. You've surely noticed it time and time again. A lot of the most admired people are not the most genuine. They just know how to smile at the right time, say the right thing, project confidence, charm, whatever the room is rewarding that day. They are basically social chameleons. And since most people are embarrassingly easy to impress, it works. When it comes to authentic people, they're not always as polished. They can be awkward, quiet, private, inconsistent, or hard to categorize. They generally don't package themselves in a way that wins instant approval. And because of that, the real ones frequently get overlooked, while the fake ones collect admiration like it's their full-time job. So when you see someone being adored by everyone, that alone should not impress you. It really shouldn't. Admiration means very little by itself. Being a skilled performer is not the same as being a solid human being. The weakest are the most cruel. Cruelty gets mistaken for strength way too often, and it is one of the dumbest misconceptions people still cling to. A lot of cruelty is nothing more than weakness, throwing a tantrum. It's a fragile ego lashing out because it can't regulate itself. Weak people cannot tolerate feeling embarrassed or powerless, so they try to transfer that discomfort onto someone else. They insult, belittle, mock, exclude, and intimidate, because causing pain gives them a temporary illusion of control. Real strength is calm. It doesn't lash out at what feels unfamiliar, and it doesn't need to dominate every moment to feel in control. Strong people can afford patience, as they're not fighting inner collapse every 5 minutes. Weak people are easily provoked. Their ego is built on shaky ground. They hurt others because deep down, they can't bear what they feel within themselves. The most miserable are the most jealous. Some people just can't stand to see happiness because it reminds them of everything missing in their own lives. That is really what jealousy is, half the time. Miserable people carry a constant sense of lack, like life has cheated them somehow. And instead of dealing with that honestly, they look outward for someone to resent. What makes jealousy so toxic is that it rarely announces itself directly. It comes out sideways. It could be through sarcasm, dismissal, gossip, or just minimizing another person's achievements. Miserable people won't tell you that they envy you. More often, they try to spoil what they're unable to enjoy. And that is why some people seem irritated by joy itself. It's not really the happy person bothering them, it's the contrast. Happiness exposes what bitterness cannot hide. It reminds them that another way of being is possible. And that reminder can feel unbearable when someone has become deeply attached to their own resentment. The most dishonest are usually the first to accuse. Isn't it funny how the people hiding the most are usually the ones acting the most outraged? The liars are suddenly obsessed with honesty. The sneaky ones cannot stop talking about betrayal. It would be hilarious if it weren't so common, but this is what dishonest people do. They start pointing fingers early. They create smoke before anyone gets close enough to see the fire coming from them. It's one of the oldest tricks in the book. If they can make you explain yourself, doubt yourself, or scramble to defend your intentions, they buy themselves time and control. Suddenly, the spotlight is no longer on their behavior. The most insecure seek the most attention. People love confusing visibility with self-worth, and insecure types especially get trapped in that cycle. They need to be noticed because being alone with themselves feels uncomfortable. Attention becomes emotional oxygen. Without it, they feel forgotten. Secure people don't need to constantly announce themselves. They can exist without making a spectacle, and they can disappear for a while without feeling erased. Insecurity is restless. It keeps asking the same desperate question in different forms. Do I matter? Do you see me? Am I enough now? It's exhausting. The most manipulative often play the victim. This one right here causes so much damage because people are trained to respond to pain, and manipulative people know it. They know that if they can frame themselves as the hurt one, the abandoned one, the one everyone has wronged, they can dodge accountability and make everybody else feel guilty at the same time. It is such an effective trick because it hijacks empathy. It takes a good instinct and weaponizes it. And just like that, the person setting boundaries looks cruel. The one telling the truth looks mean. Or the person who is finally tired of being drained or lied to gets painted as heartless. Meanwhile, the manipulator gets to sit there wrapped in this cloud of wounded innocence, like they have no idea why all this keeps happening to them. Please, they know exactly what they are doing. These dark truths about human nature are uncomfortable, yes, but they are also freeing. They're not meant to make you cynical. The lesson here really is to stop giving appearances more weight than patterns. Human nature can be ugly, performative, petty, dishonest, insecure, and downright manipulative. And the sooner you accept that, the harder you become to fool. So let me ask you, which of these truths hit you the hardest? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoy learning about human psychology, hit the like button and share this video. Also, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for watching.